I kind of want to figure out kind of the process. So when there's an appointment set, right? When you guys make that call, do you give your presentation on that call, or you set another appointment to give the presentation on Zoom or face-to-face or phone? So you take the opportunity to do the presentation on that first call, or is it the second call you guys do your presentation? Typically.
Typically the second.
Second, okay. So
Yeah.
the first call is kind of
Just like introducing myself, telling,
okay.
you know, like, oh, who I am, what I do. And then like, oh, we should make an appointment, either Zoom. I find if you meet people face to face, you have a lot better of getting the deal done type of thing, right? So
Absolutely. And I was going to say the second is probably better anyway, unless you know, it is a first face-to-face or a Zoom call made for you, what the expectation is doing a buyer presentation. But we're going to kind of tighten up the system, because here's the direction I'm going. Okay. And I want to apologize for, you know, us not doing this sooner, because this is very important. Because I start looking at the numbers, and let's just keep it real. The numbers aren't too impressive. Okay. And so, you know, and my belief on this type of stuff is, you know, you're only as good as your leader, right? And I look at myself as, you know, the leader, you know, and Jared as a leader, and, you know, Alicia as a leader. This is the leading team supporting you guys, right? So this is something we probably should have done in the beginning, is, you know, we're going to participate on, since we're dealing with mostly buyers, I want everybody to be able to do a buyer presentation on this call. Okay, because I don't know your skill set, because I've never heard in your buyer presentation, and we're going to work on those, and everybody's going to work on those, you know, together. Like Jennifer, she's putting hers together. Dabika, you have yours, but I want to hear what you're delivering. You know, Dina and the rest of her team, you know, they have Mike Ferry, which Mike Ferry is perfect, right? So we're going to spend time real live. How can we contribute to you guys having a better experience, giving your clients a better experience with a more thorough and enhanced buyer presentation? Because we have to kind of, Jared and I, we have to kind of do a diagnosis test of where the breakdown is, right? Is it in the buyer presentation? Is it in that first call, setting up the buyer presentation? Is it, you know, showing houses and then, you know, going for the close, writing offers? Are we not writing compelling and strong enough offers? So we got to kind of start from the beginning, right? And see where the breakdown is in our system. Okay, would everybody agree? Okay, and so
Yep.
So Jared's going to get out the buyer presentations, you know, the PowerPoints. But in the meantime, whatever you guys are using, starting next week, I want 2 people to give me and Jared the buyer presentation, how you would do it in front of a buyer. Okay, and we're going to work on that real time to kind of give you some feedback on what that looks like. And so since Dabika, you're an OG. What I mean by that is you've been here long. So as Jennifer, she's an OG. So the 2 OGs, we're gonna put you up first, okay? Sure. And then Sushant and Ricky, you'll go the week after, okay? And then the rest of you guys will do after that. So remember that schedule. And if we have time to fit more, we can do that. But I really want to get you guys' buyer presentation worked in. And then after we do the buyer presentation, then we're going to transition and do a listing presentation. Okay. Now, my personal opinion, like what Jennifer's doing, if you could take bits and pieces from the Mike Ferry script, I love Mike Ferry's script. I've used it. It's very thorough. It has a lot of psychological disc profiling behind it. So it makes a lot of sense. But, you know, hey, you know, he's not the only coach out there doing buyer and seller scripts. Okay, as long as you guys have one. But, you know, and everybody's going to be a little bit different. But there might be some common denominators or certain power questions and certain processes of when to ask for a buyer agency agreement. Some of you don't ask for a buyer agency agreement because you feel like it's intrusive. I disagree. So we just need to get everybody on the same page, right? Because we need to figure out why we're not closing as many deals as we should be. Okay, go ahead, Dabika.
Gary, that's a very ideal and a right scenario where
buyers are giving us that leverage, at least my experience in GTA, where we have the opportunity, even having a good talk with them to get a BRA get signed from them. From the physical signing BRAs, though I always carry a couple of copies with me, even whenever I'm going, just not to miss an opportunity. Things have moved from physical signing to electronic since COVID. And every second person who is my buyer in past, they never signed BRA right away, even after me showing them the property. What I saw as success when I actually crunch a number for them for a couple of properties in the process, they are doing a mortgage approval. At that time, they said, okay, let's put an offer on that property. Then I am very honest and upfront with them that I am, dealing with you for long, you trust me, and you believe in the, the negotiation and the numbers that we are coming along. I would appreciate if you can sign up by BRA. Only that is the time actually when I'm putting a first offer for them. Then I get a BRA signed, which is minimum for 3 months. I never go more than 3 to 4 months because then they feel, I'm, kind of giving them a suffocation feel. But I never have the buyers where they are very forthcoming. Even if my giving them a buyer presentation, maybe at the showing itself or before a meeting, they never sign. They said, no, I'm not ready to sign.
You know what's cool about buyer agency agreements is you could cancel them at any time.
I completely agree with you. Sometimes,
so, hey,
yeah.
Hey, Deepika, the cool thing about the buyer agency agreement, you can fire me anytime. But, before you decide to fire me, please give me an opportunity to rectify whatever I'm doing wrong. So I'm really into communication. So, this is the way I make a living. I get a lot of referrals. And so I take my clients, my VIP clients very seriously. So, so you kind of just throw that out there. It's a real conversation, right? Yeah. And so that's what I used to do as an agent. Hey, this is
that's a very good point that you can cancel. I can be very forthcoming and upfront at the same time when they're resisting themselves, that you can cancel anytime and I'm there for you.
Because to me, 3 months is not enough because, month one, you're looking for houses. Month two, if you put an offer in, you're looking at, 45 days. But say you don't put an offer in, so you're kind of, on this time restraint. I do buyer agency agreements from 6 months to a year. Because you know why? The difference is, and this is what we're going to work on. So thank you for being vulnerable, is the confidence. My confidence is stronger than say, hey, I'm only going to do this for 6 months or a year minimum. But the good news is, if I'm really not doing a great job, let's rehuddle and regroup, and let me rectify it. But if you really want to fire me, which I hope that never happens, the good news is you can fire me anytime. So really 2 months is irrelevant, right? So
yeah. That's a very good point, but I'm saying my time, if you see realistically how I explained, when I'm nurturing them, when they are getting ready, those times there was no BRA in place. So actually, when they are actually ready to put an offer from there, it's 3 months. But I totally get that. I can start that pitch from the beginning. Let's see somebody get.
And the reason why I do it from the beginning is because the protocol for me is there's always protocol and then there's exceptions to the rule. My protocol was asked for it up front, and then I had to make an exception to the rule, right? But see, what happens is sometimes people base their protocols on emotions based on, well, I don't feel confident enough to ask this person up front, so I'll just do it later. I'm different, okay? I would just say protocol, hey, I have to ask you this because it's important to how I do business, is I need this buyer agency agreement signed because I only work with selected few clients, right? You'll let them know that, hey, all my attention is toward you because you signed this buyer agency agreement. You consider a VIP client. When you call, you supersede the next person who calls because I don't have an agreement signed with them. So your time comes first. So if you want to go out and see a property and you give me a call, you're going to trump everybody else who didn't sign one, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you got to sell value. Right? There's a value behind you selling this, right? Because I'd rather do business with an agent or a client that's loyal to me, just like you rather do business with an agent that's loyal to you and is providing that top-notch service. And that's what that's what you're getting, right? So sell the value. When you just make it random, like here, sign this, and I'll let Jared chime in because he's really good at this stuff too. You have to sell the value and you have to have protocol versus just doing it random. So me personally, I get buyer agency agreement signed right away.
I used to, not anymore.
Okay.
I used to. Now, the moment I say, no, I have a friend, I have somebody, sorry, Deepika, you are good. Let's see property, keep sending, and we'll definitely sign. So the value completely, this has a very much value, and some
So-
buyers will definitely get to
What's your rebuttal to that? Hey, sounds like you had some bad experience with some other agents. I understand, right? Because that's why they're doing that. Hey, wait, I don't want to sign this yet because I've been burned before. So you have to address that pain point. So how have you been overcoming that pain point? The way you overcome it is, okay, I understand. So yes, we'll do it your way. That's not the right way.
Yeah.
It's called folding. That's called giving in. You have to say, hey, I totally understand. It sounds like you had some bad experience with other agents. However, this is why I do it. So I can guarantee you whatever happened in the past is not going to happen with me.
Yeah.
You have to sell yourself. You have to give that value, right? Because
Yeah.
what that is a symptom of somebody else's bad behavior as an agent. That's why they don't want to sign anything with someone, right?
I agree. That's a very good point. But I have lately seen young professionals who are moved in even less than 2-3 years in this country, or moved from another part of it, and they are on PR. I think they think that they know the entire world in this country. And the moment then you talk about, oh, we know that, we trust you, but I'm not prepared. And I don't know from where they have that mindset, because my friend's friend is a realtor, somebody's realtor. I will select, but I am going to go with you. Trust me. So that's the word they ended with me.
Here's a good question, Deepika. So you don't want to sign a buyer agent agreement. Hey, Deepika, I totally understand. What's the one thing that's discouraging you from signing a buyer agency agreement?
Yeah, that's a good point. They
Right.
simply say they are not, I am just not making up this answer, but when I just ask them that what's your hesitation, what make you, stopping you, they simply said, we don't want any kind of stress, we don't want to get into any signing, we completely understand. And trust me, Gary, for another reason, I realize that now buyers tells me, okay, I have another realtor for Caledon, or like I say, St. Catherine. I am okay with you for Durham region. So buyers are so educated right now that they know that they can define the area. And I said, oh, I'm good. I can, show you in the Durham region. But they say you are the only one I am selecting for that area.
Let me just point out something very critical you just said, right? Is your buyers are very educated.
Yeah.
So
some of them.
Right. But okay, but here's my point. If your buyers are very educated, they know how this works, i.e. signing buyer agency agreements, that means you got to educate yourself even further than what they're educated. So that means you got to be on top of the pinnacle, right? That means that you have to enhance your skills. You have to enhance your confidence, right? Because the consumers are getting more educated with the internet and how the process works and everything else, right? So, so anyway, my point is that for this reason, this is why we're going to really focus on the steps of the process and create a system that is you execute that's protocol, but you always hear me say there's always going to be exceptions to a rule, the 80-20, right? There's going to be exceptions. Okay, so that's the biggest thing I want to point out today. But as far as the script goes, Jared, I don't know if I lost you, but Jared, if someone tells you they don't want to sign a buyer agency agreement, what's one of your master scripts?
So I'm looking up the file right now because it's not only, how I do things, it's also for me, increasing the level of confidence in an agent or anybody in any field is the quickest way you can get somebody to increase their production, increase confidence, increase production.
Yeah.
So when people are having continuous objections, in terms of getting people and presenting a buyer agreement, not everybody has the coaching or not everybody has the confidence to be able to properly articulate the benefits to them about the buyer representation agreement. And when they get punched in the face, meaning when they get objections and people are saying, no, I don't feel comfortable signing that, that's only going to happen once or twice before people stop actually even presenting the buyer representation agreement. The problem is not with the agreement per se. The problem is with the confidence and how you're articulating that to the person to see the benefits of that to them, not you. We all know the benefits of them signing an agreement for us, absolutely. But people aren't going to sign it for you. So you need to be able to change that confidently and telling them all the benefits to them in signing this agreement. Hey, this agreement is an agreement between you or I that actually solidifies me and my fiduciary duties that I owe you to work in your best interest, right? By signing this agreement, I am now obligated to work in your best interest. I have to negotiate the best price. I have to do this, right? If I don't have an agreement signed, then there is no contractual agreement stating that I have to be working and I owe you fiduciary duties. Now, after going through this over and over and over and over and over, and also going back to when I was an agent for the first time, being able to bring out a 6-page legal document and getting people to sign it, I remember the frustrations. I remember the anxieties of not being able to properly articulate a buyer representation agreement with all of the legal jargon, and it was scary. It was like, here's all the legal things, and these are the things that I owe you in the event that your deposit is withheld. This is blah, 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 blah. You read 6 pages of this, and it can be very intimidating to a buyer. So what I did, and I'm going to send you guys right now, is I created a 1-page buyer agreement, which is a VIP buyer agreement. I changed the name of it. It's no longer a BRA. So I want you guys to think about this. There's going to be some of you on this call that are sticklers for rules, and I understand that, and that's great for you. It's not for everybody, right? To bring out a 6-page buyer representation agreement and get them to sign it. If you're doing that consistently and effectively, then keep doing it. This lesson here is not for you. However, if you're not having the same level of confidence and competence in being able to deliver this message, and you're getting objections from people, like I was, then hopefully you'll be able to have some takeaways here. So in the VIP buyer agreement, Gary, you alluded to something earlier on that, what's great about the buyer agreement is it can be canceled anytime. Do you know, like that piece of paper that they sign, it can be ripped up. It's as good as one complaint to your broker or to the board that completely dismisses that buyer representation agreement. Not to mention that if somebody wants out of a buyer agreement, right? Like, and you're the agent that wants to hold them to that. No, you sign an agreement. Like, no, let them out of it. They're just going to complain. There's a reason why they want to fire you. Yes. Would you like an opportunity to correct that action because of lack of communication, whatever that is? Yes. If they want to fire you and get out of that buyer agreement, nothing is going to stop them from getting out of that. They can talk to your broker of record, or they can talk to the board, and they will get out of it. So anyways, what I created was a 1-page document that is a VIP buyer agreement. Gary, I think you have that file. I don't know what that buyer advantage program is, but I bet you it's something very similar to that.
Very similar.
So
Yeah, it's very similar. So you guys could do a collaboration, a hybrid of both. But while Jared's trying to find his, you can share your screen too. I just give you credentials. You look at these agreements, like this one, cancellation guarantee. For any reason, if you're not happy with us, you can cancel our agreement at any time. There's no cost obligation. Don't get stuck with an agent, right? But then you have
Right. Go ahead. Sorry, but go ahead.
You have strategic negotiation advantage, custom loan programs, this is what I was talking about, anytime showing program, right? We will schedule home showing requests on your time frame, including for sale by owners, vacant land, or new construction, right? Distressed seller program, home hunter service, home warranty, raving fans club, free moving truck. You don't have to have this one, but some people do. Sell it for free. So now who's not going to sign this if you're value stacking all this stuff? And Jared's going to show you one of his on top of the agreement. And then compensation is at the bottom. Who's not going to sign that? There's a huge value to that.
Jared, I have a question. I definitely would like to see your version, but is this kind of form in if you get successful and you are getting successful to get it signed, it has any legal binding or it's just for the sanity of us that they now are going to buy from me? I'm sorry, my video is off. Sorry, my apology.
So here, hold on a second. Select photos. You've given Zoom access to files, manage photos. Yes. Okay. Select, done. Okay. So here's the thing, Deepika. You just asked if it has any legal standing or legal merit, right?
Yeah.
My question back to you would be, what legal standing or legal merit does the Toronto Real Estate Board buyer representation agreement hold? What legal merit does that hold?
That is only if, let's say, if I have a successful buyer and if one initial, I'm going backward, if one initial is missing in BRA or working with realtor, they say it's an incomplete document. So now I'm coming back to this point. If you have made a custom build, which is very good, they don't think that they have to go through 4 pages and you get it signed. But I'm saying, does this document has some legal standing? But because it's not on a TREV form. That is actually what I'm trying to ask.
So, okay, perfect. So the buyer representation agreement is only for the Toronto Real Estate Board is only as good as the piece of paper written on it. Anybody on this call that's looking to hold a client or customer to a buyer representation agreement, even if they want to fire you, that's good luck with that. That's all I have to say, right?
Yeah.
If somebody wants to fire me, then
They can
I
do any
rip up
second.
that piece of agreement. However, when you're submitting all of your documents to EXP on a file that is completed, right?
Yeah.
You must enter a buyer representation agreement as per the board, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Now, once you have written an offer and an offer is being completed, I always just put the buyer representation in with the working with the realtor,
Yeah.
all of my other forms that need to be done with my offer, right?
Yes, I do that.
What we're talking about right now is having a conversation with a buyer for the first time or maybe second time and getting them to commit to us, right? We're not talking about the legal standards of when an accepted offer has been implemented and put in and all the documents we have to do. That's much farther down the line and farther down the relationship. After you form that relationship, if somebody's still hesitant to sign a real buyer representation agreement, then you shouldn't be working with, right? So
that is what I was focusing on. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So at the point of conversation, when real estate agents not have the same level of confidence to be able to properly articulate all of the benefits that come with hiring me in the form of a representation agreement, what I made is a 13 step outline that says Canadian Home Hunters exclusive VIP buyer agreement. And then again, we will assist you in securing the best financing. We will arrange private showings. We will always prepare the offer with the best terms, provisions, conditions, and in your best interest always. We are available 7 days a week to answer any questions. You will never at any time obligated to purchase property. We will use only the latest up-to-date technology for communication. Bonus includes our service cancellation guarantee to showcase our confidence in providing you with service excellence. Number 12, bonus included is access to our off-market properties, proprietary information provided exclusively by the Canadian Home Hunters. 13, bonus included is our VIP alert system, which allows real-time daily updates of homes that match your criteria. After I go through all of these 13 things and I have properly said, hey, these are all the things. This is no legal mumbo jumbo, no legal jargon. This is 13 points that are all beneficial to them. And then when I present this, I say, I blank hereby give blank company authorization to activate and access their exclusive off-market properties, the VIP alert system. You understand that our fee is at least 2.5% of the purchase price of the property shall be collected from the seller's brokerage and paid to blah, blah, blah company out of the proceeds of sale, provided that blah, blah, blah company has acted As your agent on the sale, please notify us of any property that you wish to view. Inform other agents, sellers, and builders that the blank company is working with you as your agent. This agreement automatically expires 1 year from today's date unless canceled earlier by either party in writing. Performance of the 10-point system services are conditioned to the blank company remunerated as indicated above. One of the objections or concerns is like, oh, the 2.5%. Yes, the 2.5% of the purchase of the price of the property shall be collected from the seller's brokerage, and we will be paid to blank company out of the proceeds of sale, right? I work for you and I collect my money from the seller's brokerage. You are never under any obligation to purchase any property. So what I do is I give them this, they can hold it, and then I have my own copy and I read off all of these 13 points. And then if you want to add in your love it or leave it guarantee, you want to add in other guarantees, I read their body language, guys, as I'm reading this. And then I'm like, do you understand? Do you have any questions about this? Then I slide over a pen. The power of the pen are people are generally conditioned to respond and grab when something is offered it to them. It's very hilarious, actually, when you go around with a pen and you just put it in front of somebody and go to offer it and hand it to them. Watch how many people just unconsciously reach up and grab that pen out of your hand. It's hilarious. They all do it. So after you read this, you pass over the pen and you watch their body language. When they reach and they grab the pen, they naturally look down and they see where to sign it. If they put the pen on the piece of paper and then they push the paper away, then you can say, hey, listen, you know what? It seems as though you don't feel comfortable about signing this agreement right now. You handle their concerns. So what about it is it that you feel most concerned about it? Is it going to be our VIP alert system? Is it about this? Is it about that? No. Okay, well, here's my cancellation guarantee. And then I slide them over my cancellation guarantee. And in there, it states that they can cancel this agreement at any given time. And then I sign that in front of them and date it and say, here's the cancellation guarantee. This really means that you can fire me at any time. It's never happened yet, but who knows? Maybe you're going to be the first. And they kind of joke about it. I sign the agreement, pass them over the cancellation guarantee, and then I say, hey, now how do you feel about this? It's an agreement that now I owe you all of the things outlined here that are all beneficial to you. Here's the cancellation guarantee that I've signed and submitted to you, right? This is breaking down all their defensive. If they still do not want to sign, then I'll say, okay, I understand. You know, it seems as though you might have heard some horror stories from other people, either your friends, family, or coworkers, about real estate agents. And unfortunately, you know, on behalf of the real estate board, I do apologize. There are a lot of part-time real estate agents in the business. I, however, am not one of them. So if you had a bad experience before, I understand it. And it's unfortunate that it happens quite often. You know, but I take my job very seriously. This is why I outline all of the agreements and all the things that I owe you. So you have a full understanding of all of the things that you benefit from me working in your best interest. So listen, why don't we do this? I take those back and I say, you keep this cancellation guarantee. You don't have to sign anything right now. But what I want from you, okay, Deepika, what I want and I need from you is I need a 100% commitment. While I'm out there spending time away from my family, looking for homes for you, that you are not talking to any other real estate agent. If you decide that you want to work with other real estate agents, then you can just give me that cancellation guarantee, or you can tell me via text message or email that you choose to work with another real estate agent, and so be it. I'll wish you the best of luck. However, if I'm doing all this work up front, I need to know that you're committed to me 100%. Does that make sense? Is that fair? That me doing all of this work up front in hopes of getting paid later, that you are not going to be shopping around working with other real estate agents. Is that fair, Deepika?
Absolutely.
Perfect. So why don't we do this? Why don't we build the relationship? Okay. When it does come time to submit an offer, we do need a buyer representation agreement signed as per the rules and regulations of the Toronto Real Estate Board. Okay, but we can cross that line after we develop the relationship, as it seems to me that building the relationship seems very important to you at the beginning here. And I completely understand, as there's a lot of part-time agents in this business. Sound good?
Yes.
So what I've done there is I have created an expectation. I've outlined the way that I am to be treated. I've told them that this is how I support my family, that I'm going to be doing a lot of work up front, that I expect 100% commitment from them. I've also practiced on giving them all of the information and the value that they are to be received in hiring me as a real estate agent. And then, hey, after 2 or 3 or 4 showings, I can revisit this conversation and say, hey, listen, you know what? We've been dealing with each other. You can see the value that I have. How would you feel about signing that VIP agreement at this time?
I think, Jared, that's pretty reasonable, expecting that for somebody to sign, because all that what you said, that is what we are anyways doing when we are talking to them and putting them in a piece of paper, show that we are showing our more commitment to them, right? Rather than just talking in air. And I don't see any objection for them to sign it. But when I'm joining it with my experience of this, that yes, how somebody said, Deepika, I'm committed to you. You know what I mean, Jared? And they're seeing properties with me. And I tell them, the moment you change your mind, or you have somebody else, everybody's time is precious. You let me know, I'm always there. But if you change your mind, let me know in all honesty. So I'm saying, even if they sign this or not, they can change their mind any minute, right? It's more for our sanity, thinking that they have signed and they are just committed to us. I am just thinking, because whatever you stated is so great, and I don't think anybody has an objection to at least sign it, because we are giving them more power, rather more point to them. Okay, I didn't done this, that's why I'm changing my mind. But I'm saying, whether when we get this sign, again, they can do whatever they want, right?
They can do whatever they want, regardless.
Yeah.
The point is, hold on. Either, if you guys aren't getting anything signed, you guys aren't getting the BRA signed. And I mean, just not on this call, but majority of agents are they're not presenting the right values to people. They're getting them to sign a contract without properly explaining the benefits to them.
Yes.
And they're missing out on opportunities. They're like, oh, if you don't sign it, I'm not going to work with you. Fair enough, right? That's your choice. That's how you operate your business. That's fine. I have never not worked with anybody, and this is one of those heated topics of discussion. I've never not worked with anybody that refuses to sign the buyer agreement after meeting them for the first 2 times. I use this as an opportunity to set boundaries and expectations of commitment to myself and my business.
Yes.
And I have no problem talking about my money and all of the work that I'm going to do for you in hopes of getting paid by the sellers after. And I've fired clients. I've never had anybody fire me from signing a VIP buyer agreement or going and working with another real estate agent. I've lost people to going and working with builders because they just didn't know, and that's my mistake. But I've never lost anybody to going and working with another real estate agent. So there's that yes, it also stops, the majority of people that I was talking to were leads that were coming in via internet. So when real estate agents are conditioned to follow the same script, or ISAs are saying, hey, so are you working with a real estate agent? Yes. Did you sign them? Did you sign a contract with them? Mm-hmm. Now they can say yes. Now they don't know that they didn't sign the legal Toronto Real Estate Board buyer agreement. They have no friggin' clue what that is, right? So it stops that conversation in the tracks from them getting prospected and poached from other people, because they're like, did you sign something? Yes, I did. What did you sign? Right? Nobody's going to say, what did you sign? All is that lead knows is that they signed something. They committed to us. This is a lot easier to get somebody to sign and commit. Is it legal? Does it hold up? No, but do you really, as a real estate agent, want to hold somebody to a buyer agreement when they want to fire you anyways? No, let them go.
Yeah, even the brokerages, sorry, I've never experienced the EXP, but my previous brokerage, one of the brokerage never let the contract go. They'll have A, B, C, D broker ready, and they converse differently. And I have an experience with a brokerage. The moment somebody say, I wanted to, get it signed because I'm moving out of country. I don't want to be in legal commitment. They sign with 2 seconds. They said once client has changed their mind, there is no point in retaining them. But I complete, because every time when you and Gary mentioned about what is the progress on getting a BRA signed or agreement buyer rep signed. So my BRA was a prep form. And thank you that you have clarified that. It is a commitment showing a commitment from the client to be honest with us and just chose us over others rather than having a legal one, because the legal one, everybody take their hand back and they never sign.
Right. So here's the other thing. Once they've committed to this 1-page document that simply states all of the things that I'm going to be doing and all of the benefits to you, 1 page. Once they sign that, send them over a BRA via DocuSign. You've already done all the heavy lifting of getting the VIP buyer agreement signed, right? So then send them the real one if you really just want to put that in your back pocket.
Mhm.
But the problem is that people are not getting that BRA signed. So this is the next best thing. That's like people telling me like, oh, you juice, like, you know, it's better for you if you eat those whole vegetables. I'm like, yes, if I eat those whole vegetables, but I don't. So juicing is the next best thing.
No, I absolutely 200% agree with you. This is the next best thing. Rather than not getting anything done, if at least they commit to this, at least we know. And I am saying maybe I never explored this option, but wherever with my intelligence and I know they're making us fool around, my thing is simply insert my card, give them, still sending them listing for another 1 or 2 months. And I say, I'm there. I'm a full-time realtor, going to show you property anytime. I sometimes take a leverage of 2-3 partners who sometimes say they pick a we can work together, that I have a people who can, help you in showing. And I take step back if they are not committed to me, right? But if they are committed to me, they always go with me. But with this page, at least I have more surety from them, for sure.
Yeah, you know what, guys? So who else has some feedback on here about what we just discussed? I put in Gary has his kind of similar thing, VIP buyer agreement. I have mine. How many of you guys are getting buyer agreements signed as it is for the Toronto Real Estate Board ones? How many of you guys would see the value in having, and really this document is baked into my buyer presentation as well. So as we're going through what it means to be a buyer represented, what it means to have agency agreement, what it means, some of the process, here's the steps involved, how to get pre-approved, blah, 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 blah. And then I talk about what it is to be a VIP buyer agreement. It's in my buyer presentation, as is the cancellation guarantee. I discussed this in detail. This can be at a showing. I can be sitting around the table at one of my showings and going through this. It takes 8 to 12 minutes, depending on how well rehearsed you are. So I want to hear some feedback and some engagements from some other people on the call here.
I did it. Yeah, it's very good one. We never get into this earlier because there is no foundation or legalization in that. So, but it is easy to get it signed. And then the majority of the previous deals, what I did is based upon my referrals, which is my friends and family circle. So there we never signed BRA upfront. We just signed while putting an offer. But for the third parties or the unknown people, yeah, we can get you started with this. So we get to know whether they are serious enough or they are just wasting their time or our time as well.
Yeah, it's great. That's great feedback, and when you guys start to understand and read people's body language, when you slide over an agreement and then pass them a pen, it's very interesting to read that body language. We are all very, we have built-in intuitions, right? We have an emotional intelligence source in along with our other intelligence or our IQ. So be aware of how people are responding to this. And then based off their body language and you reading this, you can start to address, identify, and isolate any concerns that they have, right? Like, why are they squirming? Why don't they want to sign this? There's nothing in here that is legal and scary. All that's in here is all of the benefits to them. If they don't even want to sign this, there's obviously something that has happened to them in past or something that they've been told. So it's better to get that out of the way and open up the table discussion.
Yep. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. So all you're doing, you guys, with this type of approach, you're having them opt into your value stacking, your offers, right? And so take a look at this. I mean, this doesn't look like a contract, does it? Does this look intrusive and scary? No, it looks like it's fun. There's a lot of benefit there. Become a Raven fan, free client courtesy trucks. You could put whatever you want to there if you're not doing trucks. You could do, I mean, how many people do home warranties here? Does anybody do home warranties? Paid at 300?
No, not really.
Okay.
No, not here. Yeah.
Okay. So anytime showing, that could be, that could be stamped. Hey, I'll show you anytime. So look at these, design something that works for you as your value, and then go over these. Go
Yeah.
over these as part of your advantage. So there's 10 here, create, 8 or 7 or 6 of your own that works for you as part of your advantage, right? And then create it to where it's fun. It doesn't look like a contract. These are the fun services and guarantees that I'm offering you. And this is why we're sitting down talking about this, right? So I just want to show you this, you guys, because it doesn't have to look like a contract. This doesn't. There's a lot of value here, right?
Yeah, and don't always use the term agreement instead of contract. Contracts are scary, right? Agreement is it's less abrasive.
Yeah. So any other feedback? Good stuff, you guys. This is just step one, so they're definitely a buyer AC agreement, that whole strategy. And then on the same level, I really want to, hone in on the actual presentation, which is, the presentation is going to cover some of this stuff as well. This is kind of a 30,000 foot view of the stuff. But then when you do the presentation, you're going to mention these things as well, right? And so, but this is kind of like a mini presentation. So kind of get your presentations in order. So just to kind of recap, you guys, Deepika and Jennifer, you're next week. Let's do first time home buyer. That'll be first time home buyer off the internet. Second conversation, because the first conversation is, hey, like Jennifer said, just kind of, I want to put a voice to the name and kind of ask you some preliminary questions. And then how about we meet face-to-face or do a Zoom at minimum, right? So it's either face-to-face or Zoom, because a phone call will not work because you can't show them the visuals, right? So hopefully you guys are doing your second appointment via Zoom or face-to-face. If you're doing a phone call, then you're missing a lot of the emotional leverage that you could be creating, being right in front of them, okay? So obviously face-to-face is first choice, and then Zoom is second. So then after Deepika, we're gonna do Ricky, Sushant, either the same day if we have time. If not, we'll do it on the following day. But I want everybody to focus on their buyer agency script and kind of their delivery, and then also their buyer presentation. Okay, so that's your homework. All right, and we're gonna get this nailed down.
And when we're talking about buyer presentation, we're talking about a slideshow, guys. We're talking about Keynote, or we're talking about PowerPoint. Like, we're talking about a presentation. We're not just throwing it out there and just having a conversation. Like, these are slides that has a visual component to it. There's 3 different types of learning, right? There's kinesthetic, visual, and auditorial, where it's like there's roughly about 8% learn from just auditory. Most people are visual or kinesthetic learners. So you need a visual component when you're explaining things.
Yep. Okay, so that's gonna be our focus. We're gonna figure out, we're gonna, this is gonna help you guys out a lot. Developing your own systems, your strategies, what's protocol and what's exception to the rule. So it's just repeat, rinse and repeat. That's how it should be. And then if you're doing that, you'll be able to plug your holes in. If you're making appointments, your people are showing up, kind of like you, Jennifer, right? I appreciate you being vulnerable and volunteering this information. Hey, you're getting in front of people, but you're not closing them, right? So you identified it's the listing presentation or it's the buyer presentation. So you took the initiative to dive in. I appreciate that about you. That's awesome. So I think we all need to look at that and say, where am I missing the opportunities? Where am I not maximizing every opportunity? So we're going to reverse engineer this. We're going to start out with the presentations, okay? And then kind of go from there, which also includes, scripts and stuff like that Jared and I have been working with you on, okay? So that's kind of going to be the format. So any other feedback, any other questions before we close out? Good stuff though. Do you feel like this is going to help you guys? Most importantly.
For sure.
For sure.
Okay, perfect. All right, until next week, you guys, if you need anything, let us know. If you need any outlines, I think Jared has the brick house listing
Are
presentation.
we gonna get a copy of this agreement that you just talked about?
We can,
Or
if everybody wants one, we can send out, what we can do is send you a bunch of copies and you guys can kind of populate a hybrid of your own. Okay.
And Gary, if you can include yours too, maybe a couple of points we can snatch from there.
Yes, I will.
Radha,
I will do that. So I'll have, you'll get an email from Jason. I'll tell him what to send you guys and along with the video recording of today's call. But until next week, you guys, good stuff. Jared, I appreciate you, man. Hopefully you
Thank you,
guys,
Jared, for your valuable inputs.
yeah, absolutely.
Welcome, guys.
thank you. It was
We'll
great
see-
meeting you all.
Yeah, you too, Dina.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.